Super Mario World. Again, as far as the cartridge pin sets on this unit, the Super Nintendo ones seem even softer when you put the cartridge in and more spaced out, to the point where I'm compelled to remove the cartridge and put it back in a second time just to make sure I've made a full connection. This is just the standard AV. The Super NES does look slightly crisper with the S-Video. However, YouTube is going to kill that resolution anyway, so I didn't really want to take the time to go through that. And you cannot display the NES games on your television correctly using the S-Video. The NES side of this machine will only function with the standard AV outputs. Star Fox. Similar to Castlevania 3, this game was non-functional on all previous Super Nintendo clones. And on our RetroDuo, as you can see here, no smoke and mirrors. Polygons running in full effect. Mode 7 scrolling is there. Ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing heterosexual about that emergency warning. Looks great. We have a Super Nintendo Hong Kong multi-cartridge. Menu screen on this does not freak out like a scrambled Playboy channel in the 80s. Let's do a little Megaman X. Looks good, plays good. Good action on the controller. I'm going to demonstrate something that was impressive to me. Super Game Boy, which allowed Super Nintendo users to play original black and white Game Boy cartridges as well as backwards compatible color Game Boy cartridges on their Super Nintendo system. This is a Hong Kong Flash multi-cartridge, which has a menu system that comes up. It's essentially a build-your-own multi-cartridge, for those of you unaware. Now there it is in my Super Game Boy, and I was pleasantly surprised to see, when I powered it up, that it did in fact work. So if I were to select a classic like Tetris, the Game Boy version, which in my personal opinion is one of the best versions, we have full Super Game Boy functionality. So there you have it, the RetroDuo in all its glory. I'm a collector of Nintendo and Famicom clones. I have been for many years now, and due to the very high compatibility of this unit with both software and hardware, I would recommend it. The pros are that it does display Super Nintendo in S-Video output. It does have both NES and Super NES on one unit. The controllers are nice. They're styled in the fashion of Super Nintendo controllers. Again, if you didn't check that out. It has a high compatibility of hardware. You can use the Super Game Boy, the Game Genie. The NES and SNES Game Genies have been reported working on this device. The cons, the AC adapter is a bit short. While the emulation is much better on the hardware, there are still a few very small graphical issues and audio issues, but this is as close to perfect as we've seen in terms of Nintendo clones. I'm very impressed with it, and I would strongly recommend getting one, even if you've already purchased a Yobo NES clone or a Yobo Famicom Twin. There's no shortage of people out there looking for working Nintendo and Super Nintendo systems, and even with the slightly limited compatibility of those units, I'm sure you have no trouble getting rid of those, trading them or selling them, and picking this up instead.